We have the esteemed Harry Litman live in studio. I go to bed with him on MSNBC. I wake up with him on CNN. I look over there and he's here. He is a former, former U.S. attorney, deputy assistant attorney general, contributing columnist for the Washington Post, professor of constitutional law at UCLA and UC San Diego, a regular commentator at MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, a lawyer in private practice, the creator and executive producer of the podcast Talking Feds, BA degree from Harvard, of course. Served as a law clerk to Supreme Court Justices Thurgood Marshall and Anthony Kennedy. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. Harry Litman is here with his giant resume and his giant brain. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning, Stephanie.
So, first of all, you were just quoting, you saw my Goldwater Miller sign and you started quoting Barry Goldwater.
He's really having a resurgence.
Yes.
These are good days for Barry Goldwater.
Right.
Although
the guy who told Nixon it's time to go.
Yeah, though you hear people say he was being political. Nixon was in the 20s. He just didn't want to lose the Senate. Yeah. But he's sure gone down, and we'll see what happens with Mitt Romney, but he's sure gone down as having been a profound courage.
Yeah.
How many times do you think I think what he and my dad, former Nuremberg prosecutor, would think about what would Thurgood Marshall think? I can't believe you clerked for Thurgood Marshall.
That is
Dear
amazing.
Jesus. What would he think about what's happened to our do we even call it a Justice Department?
Right.
There's that.
Marshall was an interesting mix in general of sort of cynical and optimistic. But he certainly would have seen the bad side of DOJ generally. But everyone has seen the bad side of DOJ generally. It exists. Now we've just fallen off a cliff. This is the worst existential crisis for the department since easily the Saturday Night Massacre, if not before. So what would anybody think? You have people, if you're just reading Twitter even casually or looking at the papers, you have people of all stripes, all eras, just really deeply dismayed. This is not like a normal sort of disagreement. This is a cataclysm.
Yeah, that's a good word, right? People are running out of 5-alarm fire at Justice.
This is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Yes.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, everybody. Talking to your wrist. Just do it. Okay, and send in the clowns, because this is the other thing we keep saying. He has not just infected the Justice Department, the Supreme Court, but the Senate. Send in the clowns. Yes, here we go.
Which version?
So this is GOP reaction.
Oh, my God. They're so feckless.
Here we go. Yes. Rick Scott, John Cornyn, and John Kennedy.
For treatment here because he's a president's friend.
I don't know. I don't know enough about the facts, but I do believe everybody ought to be treated the same.
Should Barr come and testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee?
About what?
About this.
That's up to the chairman.
Shouldn't be tweeting about a sentence regarding someone he's close with.
I have suggested to the White House and to the president that tweeting less would not cause brain damage, but the president's going to tweet.
This is not about tweeting, right? This is about, not just weaponizing the Justice Department against your enemies, but
it could be a cattle prod,
to protect your
really,
enemies, but to go after your enemies and to protect your crooked friends, right?
It could be a cattle prod. What he's doing is forcing is the wrong word. I mean, they have really been silent and craven, and can I use a big word? Pusillanimous.
Yes.
What? Hold your calls.
Thank you.
We have the word of the
day. The Senate and
whatever
the,
Harvard
and the Republicans from there you go.
Yeah. Whatever. Nerd.
Yeah. So it's been shameful, shameless on the part of the Republicans. Now I was just on CNN and the Republican consultant said, "Oh, well, it's politics 101 because they're scared of a challenge." We were just looking up at Barry Goldwater. There's got to come a point where, even for political calculation, you would think, where someone would say, it's worth it to stand up and say what's so obviously wrong and what's so obviously threatened to the rule of law. This is pretty basic stuff. And it's incommensurate what they're weighing, short-term political calculation and real deep constitutional norms. It's a disaster.
Yeah. It can't be understated.